Hello again, Miami Collective, and thank you for joining in practicing the love of Jesus as you're doing in small groups, events, and hangouts. As we continue this Praxis project, I invite you to put into practice the tools this video will provide. As the population at large within the coming generations becomes more and more aware of the importance of mental health, it is crucial, I believe, for us to learn how to understand and best help others and ourselves. Much like we see in the story of Joseph, right? A lonely boy that confronts the realities of being deprived of family, of love, support, guidance, and a healthy environment. There are many who live a similar experience. I can only imagine the strain this may have put on Joseph and the deep anxiety he must have felt maturing into adulthood. In fact, Acts chapter 7 says that because the patriarchs were jealous of Joseph, they sold him as a slave into Egypt. But God was with him and rescued him from all his troubles. He gave Joseph wisdom and enabled him to gain the goodwill of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. So Pharaoh made him ruler over Egypt and all of his palace. Today, I believe that there are those that may not believe in God, but need someone near to them to support them, to make them successful. And so if you're willing, please take note of the practical ways you can deal with anxiety as Dr. Judith McCullough, a licensed psychologist, shares her experience with us.
Anxiety in youth. This is going to be just a snapshot of anxiety, an overview, basically. So first, let's get our definitions of anxiety. A dictionary definition of anxiety is that anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. In terms of medical definition, anxiety disorder is a mental health disorder that is characterized by feelings of anxiety, worry, or fear. These feelings are strong enough to interfere with your ability to do your daily activities. And we'll talk about symptoms later. So anxiety is a natural emotion that you need for survival. People will say, well, I don't want to have any anxiety anymore, but that's actually not a good thing. The purpose of anxiety is to provide you with protection or to prepare you to handle danger. You know, we know about the fight or flight response when you encounter something that's threatening. And your body gears up to fight or run away from that situation. Now, the issue is that in today's society, the danger doesn't have to be real or life-threatening to cause anxiety. You can have anxiety about exams. You can have anxiety about meeting new people. You can have anxiety about thinking about going on a date. So the circumstance doesn't have to be a real thing even, because your body reacts to what you think as if it were actually happening. Therefore, the problem is that when you have this exaggerated, unhealthy response to something, that's where anxiety becomes a problem. So let's look at some statistics. According to the National Institute of Health, we have 1 in 3 adolescents experiencing an anxiety disorder. And this was in the first half of the 2020s. According to the American College of Health Association, this assessment was done in fall of 2018. We see that 63% of college students reported feeling overwhelming anxiety, but only 23% of them sought treatment or even had a diagnosis. Now, we know this is pre-pandemic. So therefore, the numbers or the incidence of anxiety is much higher today than it was back when these tests were done. So anxiety is a major problem in this country. Let's look at some common symptoms of anxiety. The one people think of is feeling nervous, feeling restless or jittery, having tense muscles, a sense of impending doom or danger. You think something awful is going to happen. You have excessive fears, more than the situation warrants. Your worry is chronic and you cannot shut it off. That's the chronic worry. You have trouble sleeping, and because you can't shut your mind off. You have a fast heart rate. Palpitations can even cause chest pain. And we have rapid breathing or hyperventilation. It's a common symptom. Finally, people get very sweaty, and trembling or shaking is also very common. Now, there are some types of anxiety disorders that I'd just like to mention. So we have generalized anxiety disorder. This is persistent and excessive anxiety and worry about activities or events, sometimes ordinary things. And the worry is out of proportion to the actual circumstances that you're experiencing. It is hard for you to control, and it affects how you feel physiologically. You often have generalized anxiety in addition to other things like even depression. The second one is phobias. This is what people know. It's when you have an overwhelming major anxiety to a specific object or circumstance, like people who are afraid of lizards, people who are afraid of flying. Those kinds of things are specific phobias. Then the third one that we want to talk about just briefly is panic disorder. What people think of as panic attacks. I want to talk about that for a bit. So panic disorder is repeated episodes of sudden feelings of intense anxiety, fear, or even terror that just reach a peak in minutes. That's called the panic attack. That's why it's called an attack. In a panic attack, you can have that feeling of impending doom. You have the shortness of breath. You can have chest pain, the heart palpitations, and the rapid breathing. And because this attack seems so severe to you, you worry about having them again, and you avoid the circumstance you were in when it happened the first time. People often go to the emergency room because they think they're dying. And the emergency room physicians will say, you're simply having a panic attack. So that's panic disorder. The final one we want to talk about is social anxiety disorder. Social anxiety disorder is high levels of anxiety, fear, and avoidance of social situations because you feel embarrassed or self-conscious, or you're worried about being judged or being viewed negatively by others. So we see these are the common types of anxiety. Now, what can you do? There are some things that involve self-care that you can do to reduce your anxiety. The first thing that I want to say is reduce your stimulants, like caffeine. We know that caffeine increases your heart rate, which is the prime symptom that most people notice when they are experiencing an anxiety attack of any kind. So reducing that helps you to be less anxious. Engaging in consistent exercise, 30 minutes, 3 to 5 days a week would be great for you to burn off the stress hormones that you're pouring into your body as a result of your fight or flight response to this anxiety-provoking situation. Sleep is a problem, so we want you to get a regular sleep schedule. And one thing that people don't think about is turning off electronics about 30 minutes to an hour before bedtime. It helps you to decompress, to calm, and to be more relaxed and able to get a better night's sleep. Relaxation techniques that you can use. These techniques are available on YouTube. You can go to YouTube, just search for them, and they're there, and you can follow along with what they say. One is deep breathing, where you breathe in through your nose, deep into your belly, and let it out through your mouth. Think of it as being, of your body as being like a balloon. You fill the balloon, and then you let the air out of the balloon. The other one is progressive muscle relaxation. For people who have a lot of muscle tension, this is tensing and relaxing muscle groups, various muscle groups in your body, so that you realize when you are tensed and when you are relaxed. Often people who are anxious are walking around in a state of constant tension, and this helps you to regulate your body's tension levels. The last relaxation technique that I'd like to talk about is meditation. Meditation, going out in nature and just enjoying what God has created. Looking at nature is a way that people report reduces their feelings of anxiety. Another meditation technique is thinking of the providence of God. Just recording in a journal what God has done for you and how He has helped you in the past. That helps you to meditate on His goodness, and it reduces anxiety. The last tip for self-care is social support. You need to have somebody you can talk to. Not only somebody you can talk to, but somebody who you trust to talk to. So engaging in a peer support group is also ideal because there are people of your age going through the same thing, and it helps you to feel that you are not alone. Now, if those aren't working, here are some treatments that you can use. The first one I want to talk about is cognitive behavior therapy. This is the type of therapy that I do. It has been scientifically proven to be effective in the treatment of anxiety. We talk about the connection between your thoughts and your emotions and your feelings, and how when you impact one, it impacts the others. And we teach you how to engage in cognitive restructuring. That is, evaluating your thoughts to see if they're accurate, and if they're not accurate, to get you to have a more accurate thought about the situation. Another treatment is medication. You can get medication from your family physician or from a psychiatrist. These would be antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication, and is often used in combination with therapy. They found that the best results are often the combination of these, but some people would like to try therapy first before they try medication. That's fine, or try medication first. The choice is yours. Finally, I would like to say anxiety is not a permanent state. If you're anxious now, you don't have to be forever. You need to approach situations that you're anxious of. Don't avoid them, and seek help. If you seek help, you can learn how to manage your anxiety effectively and have a more stress-free life that is comfortable for you, and you're able to enjoy your life in a better way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McCullough, for delivering the Praxis to an extremely relatable aspect for many of us in the time that we're living in. I sincerely hope that each of you are able to take this and make an action step to help others and love all the Jesus way.